Ambassador Michael Chen adjusted his simple grey suit as he stepped onto the ceremonial platform. The Grand Hall of Creelthor buzzed with the quiet conversations of over 200 alien dignitaries. This was Chen's first diplomatic mission to the Axis worlds, a confederation of 11 planets that had, until now, refused all human overtures of alliance. The Krellan warrior priest Gorval watched from his position among the honor guard, his scaled hand resting on the ceremonial blade at his hip. To him, the human appeared pathetically fragile, hairless, and soft, lacking both the protective scales of the Krellans and the formidable physical presence of a true warrior species. That the Galactic Council had granted these primates full diplomatic status was an insult to the ancient martial traditions of Creelthor. Supreme Archon Vexala, leader of the Axis worlds, stepped forward to greet the human. Her towering insectoid form gleamed beneath the crystal dome of the Grand Hall. "Ambassador Chen," she announced, her translator rendering her chittering speech into standard galactic common. "The Axis worlds acknowledge your presence, though we remain unconvinced of humanity's value as an ally." Chen smiled politely. "Supreme Archon, I understand your hesitation. Humanity is new to the galactic stage. But we bring unique perspectives and technologies that could benefit us all. We ask only for the opportunity to demonstrate our worth." Gorval felt his inner membranes constrict with disgust. The human spoke as if his primitive species had anything of value to offer. His race had achieved faster than light travel barely 40 years ago, while the Krellans had been sailing the void for millennia. The ceremonial proceedings continued, with various dignitaries presenting their credentials and formal statements. Throughout it all, Chen stood with quiet dignity, seeming unfazed by the subtle insults embedded in the diplomatic language of several representatives. When Gorval's moment came to present the ceremonial blade to the dais, a tradition symbolizing the martial prowess of Creelthor, he made his decision. It happened in an instant. Rather than presenting the blade flat across his palms, as tradition dictated, he gripped it and lunged toward the human ambassador. For the true honor of Creelthor. He roared as the blade arced toward Chen's throat. What happened next would be analyzed and debated for decades to come. The human didn't flinch or attempt to flee. Instead, Chen's eyes met Gorval's with an expression not of fear, but of profound disappointment. The small communicator in Chen's ear flashed once, a subtle blue light, easily missed in the chaos. Before the blade could connect, Gorval was tackled by 3 security drones and his fellow honor guard members. He was immediately subdued, the ceremonial knife clattering to the floor just centimeters from where Chen stood. "I apologize for this unfortunate incident," Supreme Archon Vexala said, her chitinous limbs clicking with agitation. "This soldier will be executed immediately for his treasonous action." Chen raised a hand. "That won't be necessary, Supreme Archon. On behalf of Earth, I accept that this was the action of a single individual, not representative of your people." The human's magnanimity surprised the gathered dignitaries. Many had expected outrage, perhaps even a diplomatic incident that would sever relations before they had truly begun. However, Chen continued, his voice suddenly cooler. "I am required to inform you that I have just transmitted a Level 1 security alert to my government. Standard protocol requires that I return to my ship immediately while the situation is assessed." Of course, Ambassador Vexala agreed quickly. "We will provide you with an honor escort." "That won't be necessary," Chen interrupted politely. "My shuttle is standing by." As Chen departed, the assembled dignitaries breathed a collective sigh of relief. The incident, while serious, had been contained. Once the human had left, Supreme Archon Vexala turned to her advisors. "Have the traitor interrogated thoroughly," she ordered. "I want to know if he acted alone or if this was part of a broader conspiracy." "Yes, Supreme Archon," her chief of security replied. But what of the humans? Do you believe they will retaliate? Vexala's compound eyes glittered. They are a minor species with minimal military presence in this sector. What could they possibly do? Exactly 1 hour and 58 minutes after Gorvol's failed assassination attempt, the science officer on Krellin Deep Space Monitor Station K-12 noticed an anomaly. A small distortion had appeared in the space surrounding Krulthor, barely detectable even with their advanced sensors. "Magnify that section," ordered Commander Thrix. The holographic display zoomed in on the distortion. It appeared to be expanding slowly, a subtle warping of space-time that defied easy classification. "Is it natural?" Thrix asked. "Unknown, Commander," the science officer replied. "I've never seen readings quite like these. The quantum signature is unusual." Commander Thrix was about to order a more detailed scan when a priority communication came through from the Supreme Archon's palace. Commander Vexala's voice was tense. "We've received a transmission from the human ambassador's ship. You need to see this." The message appeared on Thrix's display. It was brief, just 3 sentences. "To the leadership of the Axis worlds. A Krellin soldier attempted to assassinate Earth's Ambassador Chen. In accordance with Protocol Omega, please be advised that Krulthor has been designated for removal from space-time." "What does that even mean?" Thrix asked, but his question was interrupted by a sudden cascade of alarms. "Commander," the science officer shouted. "The spatial distortion, it's expanding exponentially." On the display, the subtle warping had grown to encompass nearly 1/4 of the planet's circumference. As they watched in horror, the distortion accelerated, creating visible ripples in the fabric of reality around Krulthor. "Evacuate the station," Thrix ordered. "Send emergency warnings to all." His words were cut short as a blinding flash filled their sensors. When the systems recovered seconds later, where Krulthor had been, there was now not debris, not a black hole, not even empty space. It was as if that section of reality had been surgically removed from the universe, leaving behind only a perfect sphere of absence. 3 days later, representatives from every major galactic power gathered in emergency session at the Galactic Council headquarters. At the center of the chamber, Earth's chief diplomat, Dr. Eleanor Park, stood calmly before the assembled delegates. "How?" demanded the representative from the Axis worlds, Supreme Archon Vexala herself. "How did you remove an entire planet from existence?" Dr. Park's expression remained neutral. "The technology is classified, Archon. What matters is that Earth has maintained a clear policy since our entry into galactic affairs. Any direct attack on our diplomatic personnel triggers Protocol Omega without exception or warning. But an entire planet for one assassination attempt." The Florian representative's tendrils writhed in distress. "Over 9 billion Krellins. For the actions of a single soldier, we provided documentation of Protocol Omega to all governments upon establishing diplomatic relations," Park replied. "The proportionality of our response is not open to debate." "You never said you possess such technology." Vexala chittered angrily. "You never asked," Park responded simply. "Humanity learned early in its development that appearing weak invites aggression. We chose a different path when joining the galactic community." Silence fell across the chamber as the implications sank in. Humanity, considered by many to be a minor species barely worth diplomatic recognition, had just demonstrated power beyond anything the Council races possessed, or had even imagined possible. "Ambassador Chen sends his regrets that he could not attend this session," Park continued into the silence. "He particularly wished me to convey that he harbors no ill will toward the Axis worlds and hopes that our diplomatic relationships can continue to develop positively." As Park concluded her address, representatives from across the galaxy exchanged glances of barely concealed terror. The message was unmistakable. The seemingly humble, polite humans walking among them were not to be threatened. Ever. In the days that followed, diplomatic posts across the galaxy reported the same phenomenon, human ambassadors continuing their duties with the same courteous demeanor as before, never mentioning Krelthor unless asked directly. When questioned, they would simply state that Protocol Omega was executed as established policy, before smoothly returning to discussions of trade agreements and cultural exchanges. 3 weeks after the incident, the first wave of applications arrived at Earth's diplomatic headquarters, from governments requesting to upgrade their relationships with humanity to most favored ally status. Within 6 months, that number included every significant power in the galaxy. Not a single hostile action against a human diplomat was ever recorded again.